right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, a big Ramy story yet again. Dennis James posting another physique update of big Ramy at 16 weeks out. And I've got to say, I kind of like this new Ramy where it seems like every single week for the past 3 weeks, this week included, we've gotten a physique update of Ramy leading into the Olympia during his Olympia prep, this one being at 16 weeks out. Taken in Dubai. Now, the interesting thing about these updates, I think, is that they have one thing in common. All of them have been extremely impressive. Arguably, when the first update of Ramy came out, that posing video in the locker room, I said I think this is one of the most impressive, quote-unquote, off-season, far-out physique updates of Ramy that we've ever seen during any of his Olympia preps. And I think at that point, it was 18, 19 weeks out. So that being that far out from the show, 336 pounds, looking that good, it was extremely impressive, and these updates, I think, are no exception to that. Even though it's 16 weeks out, closer to the show, I still think Ramy's progress and where he looks in these updates, he looks like he's going to win this show. I think Ramy is at his best right here, to be completely honest. One criticism that we've seen of Ramy is like lack of detail, specifically in the delts. We've heard people call his delts lumpy. So I think the most noteworthy thing about this update is that you can see feathers and striations in his delts at 16 weeks out. You can see detail in his shoulders, and he's not even a couple months out from the show. He's 4 months out from the show. The other thing that has really jumped out to me about all these updates is Ramy's midsection. Ramy's never really had a midsection issue, but I would say how tight his midsection looks, how deep and defined his abs look at 16 weeks out is very impressive. And again, it's never really been an issue for him on stage. But could he have improved his midsection even further this year? It kind of looks like he has. And I think that's kind of a good thing. When you've got guys like Andrew Jack, who has a very tapered midsection and very deep defined abs. You've got a guy like Nick Walker, who doesn't have the most tapered midsection, but those deep and defined abs make him look that much more impressive. When you have these guys with these crazy deep abs going against Ramy this year, I think that's going to be an important tool for him to have in his arsenal. And it looks like that's something that he's added this year. And it could be the lighting, it could be the goon light, it could be the angle, but his abs here almost look deeper and more defined than they look on stage or looked on stage last year. But I would like to point out that the one thing we haven't seen in any of these updates is what big Ramy's legs are looking like. And I think that was probably the biggest point of criticism that Ramy had for a number of reasons. The lack of detail in his legs, specifically the quads. And I think his quad to calf ratio kind of throws off the balance of his physique. His calves not really being small, but being very small in comparison to the size of his massive quads. And we haven't seen any update of his legs at all, and I think that's going to be very telling. When we do finally see those updates, and maybe we'll see them very soon if this continues to be a pattern where we get these weekly updates from Ramy leading into the Olympia. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about this update and all the other updates that we've been seeing of Ramy. Personally, I'm very impressed. And like I said in a previous video, if I were going to place a bet right now on who is going to win the 2022 Mr. Olympia, based on all the updates that we've seen as of right now, I would bet on Ramy. Now, next up in the news, in classic physique news, Ramon Dino, his latest physique updates, weighing 113 kilos, 250 pounds almost. Looking extremely impressive, but most importantly, looking to have added on some pretty significant muscle mass. He's obviously He's not out of shape here. He's in very good shape. He's a lot bigger than his stage weight. I believe his stage weight is somewhere around 220. And he already looks like one of the most muscular guys when he is on stage in a classic physique lineup. The last time we saw him in a really elite lineup was the Arnold Classic, and he looked like one of the biggest guys from a muscular standpoint already. So the fact that he's almost 250 pounds, looks very lean. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that he's still going to have to cut like 25 pounds from this physique that we're seeing here over the next 16 weeks, 15 and a half weeks, whatever it is? One of the main things we want to see from Ramon on the Olympia stage is an improved back, and he shows that in this video, and it certainly does look improved. And he was 5th place at last year's Olympia behind only Urs Kalsinski, Breon Ainsley, Terrence Ruffin, and Chris Bumstead, who won the show. So the question for Ramon this year is how many places can he move up? Will he move up, I guess is the other question. And I think the answer to that question is yes. I could see Ramon being as high as 3rd place this year. I don't think he's quite where he needs to be to win Classic Physique or to beat a guy like Chris or Terrence. But does he have enough tools right now to potentially beat Urs, potentially beat Breon? I think yes, and I think Breon making the decision after this year to switch to 212 is Breon's own acknowledgement that maybe his time in classic physique is over and his physique is just better suited now for a different division, the division being 212. Now, next up in the news, a physique update from Regan Grimes where he says he's at his biggest ever at over 290 pounds, 16 weeks out from the 2022 Mr. Olympia, showing actually a pretty impressive looking rear lat spread there. His lower back thickness in particular looking pretty impressive. And the question with Regan is, when will we ever see him make a big statement at the Olympia? He's been a big name in the industry for a pretty long time. And he did see some success when he switched coaches and started working with Milo Sarshev. But at last year's Olympia, the 2021 Olympia, he was second to last, 15th place out of 16. And then after he saw that success working with Milos, he went on to do the 2022 Arnold Classic where he wound up taking 7th place, which isn't horrible, but it was 7th out of 9, finishing only ahead of Max Charles and Fabio Giga-Rosende. And Fabio, that was his first show. He went from amateur to this show, winning the amateur Olympia or the amateur Arnold last year. So not that great of an Arnold Classic showing from Regan. And I love Regan's physique. I think he's got a great structure. I think he's pretty aesthetic for a men's open guy, and I say that about a lot of guys now because it seems like that's becoming more and more prominent. But I think at the end of the day, he just tends to get outsized on stage unless he really, really nails his conditioning. Then he seems to get noticed a little bit more. But it seems like size has really been the issue. So him saying this is the biggest that he's ever been at 290 pounds, over 290 pounds at 16 weeks out, does that mean anything for his Olympia appearance this year? He is already qualified, of course, so he does not need to compete any further until the Olympia. And honestly, Regan is a really young guy. He's in his late 20s. So I'm still confident that he will one day put it together because he does still have, theoretically, plenty of time to do so. The question really is when. Do you guys think it'll be this year, or do you think it's going to take a lot more time? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, the final story that I've got for you guys today, this picture of Calum Von Moger that was taken recently, supposedly in Miami, has been going viral lately and getting a lot of attention. Now, I saw this on Muscle Insider, and I got to say, the picture that I saw, it looks a little bit suspicious to me. I feel like it could have been photoshopped a little bit. If you look at the arms, it just looks a little bit blurred around that area. I don't know if they were intentionally edited to make them look smaller. But in any case, we all know what Calum Von Moger has been through. Drugs, alcohol, he jumped out of that window, he was in the hospital, he's had just a slew of injuries over the course of his competitive career. Pretty devastating setbacks in both his competitive and personal life. And I've seen a lot of people really just ripping on his physique, making fun of how he looks now, when I think the focus should be, it's really a miracle that he has any physique at all and that he survived everything that he's been through. I think people should be a little bit more compassionate and maybe a little bit more encouraging of the fact that he still looks like he works out, and he almost died. I would think it's pretty safe to say at this point, Calum probably doesn't have very many competitive aspirations left at this point. So I think physique update doesn't really matter much. I think the most important update is that he's able to get through his addiction and whatever mental or personal issues he's going through. And I don't think that people saying his physique looks like garbage is helping that. And by the way, it doesn't look like garbage. He looks better than most people, even still, after he's been through what he's been through. So all I can really say is I hope that in the future, any reporting of Calum Von Moger that I have to do on this channel is positive. Maybe he's making some significant improvements in his life and he gets on the right track. And anything that he does that's newsworthy from here on out is a positive story. I really hope the best for the guy. It's sad to see what he's going through. It's sad to see just not that his physique is withering away, but it's sad to see the comparison of where he started versus where he is now, because he could have had a very, very different trajectory. I mean, he had it made. He had all the tools, all the momentum, the look, the physique to be a megastar. And here he is now in recovery. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about all the stories you guys heard here today. Give the video a thumbs up. Leave it a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet already. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NickStrengthPower. my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel, and consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.
Dancing in the good light, everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Dancing in the good light, everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody's dancing